Hey everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this review. The fact that you are willing to sacrifice a few minutes out of your day to consume my content really does mean the world to me. For those of you that are unaware, I review everything that gets released on Netflix. So if you're ever curious about a new movie, series, or show, if you want to know if it's any good or not, come to my channel and I will let you know. And today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil. Now, Resident Evil was a game series that I feel like a lot of us grew up playing. It had a bit of a resurgence with the new first-person game, so I feel like it's definitely on everyone's mind. A lot of people have been, exposed to the movies as well, to the varying quality of those movies. And so when we learned that there was going to be a series, people didn't necessarily know how to feel about it. Is it going to be great? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be mediocre? Or is it going to be completely terrible? Well, I believe it was quite good. I had a good time watching it, but I do also have to say there were positives and negatives to the show. So we'll break that down throughout this review. But ultimately, Resident Evil follows two primary parallel storylines. One that takes place in the past, before the outbreak, before the end of the world. And then the second that takes place after the outbreak, after the end of the world. And so that was very interesting because they run together, they run parallel, because a lot of the themes that are explored in the show are expressed at the same time throughout the two different timelines. So that's always great. That's interesting, seeing how two completely different settings can kind of tackle the same subject matter. But I do have to say, the future timeline, the one that takes place after the outbreak, is a lot more interesting than the pre-outbreak timeline. And that's because it falls into the classic stereotypical Netflix trap of making it feel a lot like a teen drama about two sisters. Sorry, DT, come here. About two sisters who ultimately, don't sip on my mic. About two sisters who ultimately just, want to go on. You big yawn. Okay, but I'm in the middle of a review. Ultimately, it's about two sisters who just go to school and they have their own teen drama, and then eventually they end up finding, you are just not stopping, hey. Ultimately, it's about two sisters. They go through typical teen drama. If you were to just show them specific scenes from the first few episodes, they'd think this entire series was just a teen drama. You've got the stereotypical bullies. You've got the I feel like an outcast. Ultimately, that's what the first few episodes of the pre-outbreak timeline feel like. And I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I've watched countless Netflix shows that feel exactly the same, that have the exact same type of characters, that cover the exact same subject material and topics. So that was a bit of a downer, having to re-experience that, especially from a Resident Evil show. But thankfully, that timeline also really starts to speed up the moments we get exposed to, the Umbrella Corporation, the corruption that goes on there. Things do then start to get a lot more exciting. Now let's talk about the excitement, because the zombies or the mutants or the monsters look great in the show. In my opinion, they look much better than they ever did in any of the movies, which I know isn't saying much, but they really were scary in this series. That was definitely a highlight of the show for me, was making these monsters intimidating, scary. You didn't want to interact with them. They were terrifying at times. And the actors did a great job of really letting the audience know, this is dangerous. But I will say this show seriously suffers from plot armor. The plot armor in this is so thick. I was never worried about the protagonist a single time, because there's always something that can save her. So that got a little bit frustrating. It felt a lot like Jon Snow in the final season of Game of Thrones, where you kind of know he's going to be all right no matter what. Something that I really enjoyed about the show was just the set design. I think we're in a very unique location here. Yes, we're in South Africa, which is great, respect, my home country. But also, it's an incredibly eerie, unsettling place, because they're staying in a complex that, while it looks really like relaxing, upper class, upper market, all the buildings are white, the stark white. It's a perfect example of using white, which is supposed to be this pure color, as a way of saying, okay, actually, no, this is unsettling. You can obviously tell this is a front and there's something sinister happening behind closed doors. So that was great. I mean, and we followed that throughout the pre-pandemic or pre-outbreak timeline. We get that unsettling feeling, even though we're just, in a suburban area, you feel uncomfortable. But then, of course, in the future timeline, you're allowed to feel uncomfortable because you're in the apocalypse. And I think the show did a good job of showing how ordinary people are going to try adapt to a situation like the apocalypse and then also how major corporations just suck. And that's always been a theme throughout the Resident Evil games. The Umbrella Corporation has always been a company that leads in greed. Who cares about human life? It's all about the bottom line. It's about the profits. And it's just frustrating. It's kind of like there's a lot of companies that give off Umbrella vibes. But yes, guys, besides the plot armor, besides the stereotypical schoolgirl storyline, this was a good show, and I'm looking forward to season 2. So I would recommend that you guys watch it, especially if you're fans of the Resident Evil games. I wouldn't say it's an adaptation of the games at all. It does follow a lot of the lore, but you're not going to be seeing a lot of your favorite characters from the games appearing. But it is, if you're wanting to watch it as a standalone property, it is a lot of fun. It's very, very engaging. Guys, if you want to know more about Resident Evil, though, I'm going to be interviewing some of the guys that worked on the film. So subscribe to my channel so you can check out that video. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you again in another review.